two German shepherds race through dense forest, noses to the ground. Suddenly, they stop, barking frantically at a hidden ravine where a park ranger lies unconscious, his radio shattered beside him. What you're about to see isn't just another dog rescue video. This is the story of how two specially trained German shepherds tracked a scent that search teams called impossible through some of America's most challenging terrain, and how their extraordinary abilities were captured on camera during the crucial moments that saved a dying man's life. Stay with me, because the tracking technique these dogs used is something scientists are still trying to understand. The call came in at 6:42 a.m. Park Ranger James Wilson had missed his regular check-in during an early morning patrol in Shenandoah National Park. With over 200,000 acres of wilderness to search and temperatures dropping, the situation was critical. What happened next would challenge everything we thought we knew about canine tracking abilities. I've been documenting working dogs for over a decade, but this rescue stands apart. Most search operations take hours or even days to locate missing persons in wilderness areas. The average success rate for finding missing persons alive after 24 hours in remote terrain hovers around 56%. For someone injured and unable to respond to searchers, those odds drop dramatically. When I first heard about this rescue, I was skeptical. The conditions that day made conventional tracking nearly impossible. Heavy rain had washed away any physical traces. The dense forest canopy blocked GPS signals, and Ranger Wilson had already been missing for over 12 hours, with his last known location covering several miles of treacherous terrain. Enter Maverick and Luna, two 5-year-old German shepherds with the Shenandoah Search and Rescue Canine unit. These aren't your average dogs. They represent the pinnacle of what's possible when you combine selective breeding, specialized training, and the remarkable biology that makes German shepherds ideal for search and rescue work. Let me walk you through what makes these dogs so exceptional. The German shepherd's nose contains approximately 225 million olfactory receptors, compared to just 5 million in humans. Their brain dedicates roughly 40% of its sensory processing capacity to analyzing scent, about 7 times more than the human brain. This allows them to detect scent molecules in concentrations as low as parts per trillion. Think about that for a moment. Parts per trillion. That's like finding a single drop of perfume in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, or detecting 1 second in 32,000 years. This biological advantage gives German shepherds an almost supernatural ability to track humans across impossible conditions. Maverick and Luna had been training with their handler, Sarah Collins, for 4 years. The bond between them was critical to what happened next. Research from the University of Lincoln shows that strong handler-dog relationships improve working effectiveness by up to 60%. The training regimen they underwent involved over 2,000 hours of specialized scent work in progressively challenging environments. When the emergency call went out, the search area was divided into grids. Multiple teams were deployed, including drones with thermal imaging capability. But the technology that would ultimately save Ranger Wilson's life wasn't something manufactured in a lab. It was the result of 15,000 years of coevolution between humans and canines. Here's where the story takes an extraordinary turn. Standard search protocol recommends starting from the last known location of the missing person. But Maverick and Luna's handler made a controversial decision. Based on wind patterns and her knowledge of how scent particles behave in humid forest conditions, Sarah chose to begin at a location nearly 2 miles away from where Ranger Wilson was last seen. Her decision was based on something called scent coning, the way human scent molecules travel through air currents in predictable patterns depending on temperature, humidity, wind direction, and terrain. By calculating these factors, Sarah estimated where Ranger Wilson's scent would be most detectable, even at extreme distances. The search team was skeptical. Park Service veteran Mark Thompson, who's coordinated over 200 search operations, initially called the approach unorthodox and risky. But Sarah trusted her dog's abilities and insisted on this approach. Within minutes of being deployed, Maverick and Luna showed alert behaviors, raised tails, intense focus, and what handlers call working odor. They had picked up Ranger Wilson's scent. What happened over the next 47 minutes was captured on the body cameras worn by the search team and the GoPro attached to Maverick's harness. The footage shows the dogs navigating through nearly impenetrable underbrush, over fallen trees, and across rocky streams, all while maintaining an unwavering focus on an invisible trail of molecules. Most tracking dogs follow ground scent, particles that have fallen to the earth. But what made this case remarkable was that Maverick and Luna were tracking what handlers call air scent, molecules still suspended in the air after nearly 14 hours. According to Dr. Nathan Lewis, who studies canine olfaction at Cornell University, This kind of tracking is at the very limits of what we understand about canine scent detection. At the 38-minute mark, the dog's behavior changed dramatically. Their pace quickened, their bodies tensed, and they began making sharp, decisive turns through the forest. They were getting close. The terrain they traversed was among the most challenging in the park, a series of steep ravines with loose rock and dense vegetation. Areas like this are notoriously difficult to search, as they create complex airflow patterns that scatter and dissipate scent. The drone teams had already surveyed this area without finding anything. But Maverick and Luna were operating on a different level of perception. Their behavior grew increasingly urgent as they approached a particularly steep section. The camera footage shows Sarah struggling to keep up as the dogs raced ahead, disappearing into thick underbrush. And then came the moment that changed everything. The distinctive barking that trained search dogs' use when they found their target echoed through the forest. The team rushed forward to find Maverick and Luna standing at the edge of a 30-foot ravine, barking insistently downward. There, partially concealed by fallen branches and nearly invisible from above, lay Ranger Wilson. He had fallen during his patrol, suffering a severe head injury and broken leg. His radio had been damaged in the fall. Unable to move or call for help, he had been lying there for almost 14 hours, gradually slipping into hypothermia. The medical team later estimated that without immediate intervention, Ranger Wilson would have died within 2 to 3 hours. His core body temperature had dropped to dangerous levels, and he was showing signs of advanced dehydration and shock. The rescue itself presented another challenge. The ravine was too steep for a standard evacuation. The team had to call in technical climbing specialists to secure the area and carefully extract Ranger Wilson. Throughout the 90-minute rescue operation, Maverick and Luna remained on site, with Luna lying down next to Ranger Wilson in what search dog handlers describe as guarding behavior. This aspect of search dog psychology fascinates researchers. Despite having never met Ranger Wilson before, the dogs demonstrated protective behavior toward him. Studies suggest this represents an evolutionary adaptation from wolves who protect injured pack members. In German Shepherds, this instinct has been strengthened through selective breeding and training. When Ranger Wilson regained consciousness briefly during the evacuation, the first thing he saw was Luna's face watching over him. He later described this moment as like seeing an angel. The medical team airlifted Ranger Wilson to University of Virginia Medical Center, where he underwent emergency surgery for his injuries. Today, 6 months after the incident, he's completed physical therapy and returned to limited duty. He attributes his survival entirely to Maverick and Luna. "Those dogs found me when nothing else could," he told me during our interview for this video. "I was in a place no human searcher would have checked. No drone could see me. I was completely hidden, and my time was running out." The science behind this remarkable rescue continues to be studied. What makes it so extraordinary wasn't just that the dogs found Ranger Wilson, it's how they found him. By tracking an almost impossibly faint scent trail over challenging terrain, hours after conventional wisdom said such a trail would have disappeared. Dr. Lewis and his team at Cornell have been analyzing the weather data, terrain maps, and search footage to better understand exactly how Maverick and Luna accomplished this feat. Their preliminary findings suggest the dogs were detecting scent molecules at concentrations below what our best scientific instruments can measure. "We know the olfactory capabilities of dogs far exceed our technology," Dr. Lewis explained, "but cases like this push the boundaries of what we thought was biologically possible." The training that enabled this rescue isn't something that happens overnight. German Shepherds selected for search and rescue work are identified early, often as young as 8 weeks old, for specific traits: high drive, good focus, physical stamina, and most importantly, exceptional scenting ability. Sarah began working with Maverick and Luna when they were just 12 weeks old. The initial training focused on building their natural drive to hunt and search through play-based rewards. As they matured, the training evolved to include increasingly complex scenarios. By the time they were fully certified at age 2, Maverick and Luna could track human scent across water, through contaminated areas with multiple other human scents, and even detect scent particles that had been present for over 24 hours. But the bond between handler and dog is equally important. Sarah spends more time with Maverick and Luna than with any human. They live with her, train daily, and have developed what animal behaviorists call cross-species communication, the ability to understand each other's subtle cues across the species barrier. This communication was evident in the rescue footage. At several points, Maverick and Luna split up to cover more ground, then reunited without any verbal command from Sarah. They made complex navigational decisions as a team, showing a level of coordination that surprised even experienced Canine handlers who reviewed the video. The equipment used during this search represents the cutting edge of Canine search technology. Maverick and Luna wore specialized vests with GPS trackers that mapped their search patterns. Lightweight cameras captured their perspective. And most importantly, they wore protective booties designed to shield their paws from sharp rocks and thorns while preserving their ability to feel terrain changes. What's remarkable is how German Shepherds like Maverick and Luna continue to outperform technology in wilderness search situations. Despite advances in thermal imaging, drone technology, and even artificial electronic noses, no technology can match a well-trained search dog's ability to find humans in complex environments. The statistics bear this out. According to the National Association for Search and Rescue, teams with trained dogs find missing persons up to 50% faster than teams without dogs. In cases where the search area is larger than 50 acres, dog teams are nearly 3 times more effective than human-only search teams. For Ranger Wilson, these statistics became personal. "I've worked in national parks for 12 years, he told me from his home during his recovery. I've participated in dozens of searches for missing hikers, but being on the other side, being the one who needed finding, changed my perspective completely." He described drifting in and out of consciousness during those long hours in the ravine. As night fell and temperatures dropped, he was aware enough to know his situation was growing dire. "I could hear the search helicopters at one point, but they were too far away. I knew I was hidden from view. That's when I started to lose hope." The psychological impact of being rescued by Maverick and Luna created a bond that continues today. Ranger Wilson now volunteers with the Shenandoah Search and Rescue K9 unit during his off hours, helping train new handlers and dogs. "I owe them my life," he says simply. "Working with them feels like the least I can do." This rescue highlights something profound about the relationship between humans and dogs. German Shepherds were originally bred in the late 19th century by Captain Max von Stephanitz, who sought to create the perfect working dog. He selected for intelligence, loyalty, and an unwavering work ethic, traits that made them ideal military and police dogs. But their success in search and rescue work reveals something beyond their physical capabilities. It shows their deep empathic connection to humans, a willingness to search tirelessly for people they've never met, in dangerous conditions, with no reward beyond their handler's approval. This empathic ability may be the most remarkable aspect of dogs like Maverick and Luna. Studies using MRI brain scans show that dogs process human emotions in the same brain regions where they process their own emotions. In other words, they don't just recognize our emotional states, they share them. For search dogs, this creates a powerful motivation. They understand on some level that finding the missing person matters deeply to their handler. This emotional connection drives them to push beyond physical exhaustion, to keep searching when other dogs might give up. The footage from Ranger Wilson's rescue shows this determination clearly. After nearly 40 minutes of intense tracking through difficult terrain, most dogs would show signs of fatigue. But Maverick and Luna maintained their focus with undiminished energy until the moment they found him. Their success has implications beyond this single rescue. The techniques used by Sarah, Maverick, and Luna are now being studied and adapted by other search and rescue organizations. The scent coning approach that initially met skepticism has been validated by their success and is being incorporated into training programs nationwide. The National Park Service has expanded its K9 search program in response to this case, adding 4 new German Shepherd teams across the country. The cost of training each team, approximately $25,000, is considered a wise investment given their proven effectiveness. For the dogs themselves, successful rescues serve as powerful reinforcement for their training. Search dog handlers report that dogs who have experienced live finds, successfully locating living people, show increased drive and determination in subsequent searches. But there's a bittersweet aspect to this story that few people consider. The working life of a search and rescue dog is relatively short, typically 7-9 years. Their intense physical activity takes a toll on their bodies, particularly their joints. Many retire with arthritis or other mobility issues. Maverick and Luna, now halfway through their working careers, will likely retire within the next 3-4 years. They'll transition to being Sarah's pets, enjoying a well-earned rest after years of service. But their legacy will continue through the lives they've saved and the techniques they've helped pioneer. The impact of their work extends far beyond the individuals they rescue. Each successful find provides valuable data that improves training methods, equipment design, and deployment strategies. In this way, Maverick and Luna's rescue of Ranger Wilson may ultimately help save many more lives in the future. For anyone who has ever wondered about the true capabilities of working dogs, this rescue provides a compelling example. It demonstrates not just their extraordinary physical abilities, but also their intelligence, determination, and unique bond with humans. This rescue also reminds us of something essential about our relationship with dogs. In an age of increasing technological dependence, these animals connect us to something primal and profound, a partnership that predates civilization itself. When Ranger Wilson describes the moment he first saw Luna standing over him, he touches on something many rescued people have expressed, a sense of being found not just physically, but emotionally. There was this moment of connection, he recalls. Even in my semi-conscious state, I knew I'd been found. I knew I wasn't alone anymore. That connection, the culmination of thousands of years of human-canine coevolution, represents something technology alone may never replicate: the depth of understanding between two species who have grown together throughout human history. Maverick and Luna's story continues. Since rescuing Ranger Wilson, they've participated in 12 more search operations, successfully locating 9 missing persons. Their reputation has grown among search and rescue professionals, who now specifically request them for the most challenging cases. For Sarah, watching her dog's work remains a source of wonder. Even after years of training and dozens of successful searches, they still surprise me, she says. Just when I think I understand the limits of what they can do, they push beyond them. The footage of this remarkable rescue serves as a testament to what's possible when human and canine abilities combine. It shows us that despite our technological advances, some of our most powerful tools for saving lives are those with 4 paws, wagging tails, and hearts fully dedicated to working alongside us. As we continue to study and understand the extraordinary abilities of dogs like Maverick and Luna, we gain not just better search techniques, but deeper insight into one of humanity's oldest and most meaningful partnerships. If this story of canine heroism amazed you, hit the subscribe button now and check out our next video about the amazing underwater search dogs who locate drowning victims when all other methods fail.